to AMC Live. I'm your host, Carter Hoskins, and this is the Vietnam War. During World War II, France was occupying South Vietnam, but became weak because the war required money and troops, and became weak in South Vietnam. Then, Japan started to occupy South Vietnam. North Vietnam rebelled, led by Ho Chi, a communist. Then, France, after the war, went to go occupy South Vietnam again, even though South Vietnam declared its independence. France had the advantage because the U.S. was giving them aid, not yet sending troops. French then started to attack Indonesia, which started the battle for Indonesia. But then, in May 1954, Ho Chi forces conquered the last of the French bases. On August 2nd, 1964, the Maddox, a U.S. torpedo ship, was fired upon. Then, on August 7th, the Gulf of Tonkin Revolution, giving LBJ broad war powers. He committed the U.S. in fighting the South Vietnamese communists and North Vietnamese communists. On March 1965, the first Marines arrived. Then, by July, there were more than 50,000 troops occupying South Vietnam. But just like in any other war, they were injured. But instead of being carried away into trenches and held there, they were airlifted out by helicopters. This was also the first time that a war was being broadcasted onto TV. Reporters often had to fight alongside the Marines. Most were under fire or in harsh conditions. Even kids at age 10 were taking pictures. 4 years later, 1969, the first withdrawal began. It meant the withdrawal of 543,000 U.S. troops. Then, on January 27th, 1973, a ceasefire was accepted. But, also in 1973, the North Vietnamese were planning one last attack. But it didn't come into full throttle until 1975. And this plan was for the takeover of Saigon, which was the South Vietnam's headquarters. But then in April, Saigon was captured, ending this war with a communist victory. This was AMC at You Live, and I'm your host, Carter Hoskins, and this was the Vietnam War.